Hi everyone, it's Alana from The Rustic Wife. If you're new here, I live in Ontario, Canada. We are growing zone 5B, and on this channel you're going to find lots of things about gardening and canning and lots of recipes and lots of stuff that we get up to on our 2 acres that we have. We have pretty much stuffed a lot of things on 2 acres, a large garden, some flower beds and a young orchard, and we have chickens and meat birds, and we release pheasants, and we have had pigs in the past, plus some dogs and outside cats. So we got a whole old MacDonald farm going on here. But today I am going to be harvesting some potatoes. It's actually quite sunny today and it's supposed to be nice tomorrow, so we'll just let them dry out a little bit excuse me, on the soil, and then we'll bring them in to finish a curing process. So it's supposed to rain next week, so it's a good day to get these potatoes out. They're huge. There, so we have all 4 rows harvested. You can see we got a really great crop. We think it's partly due to the variety, which is Kennebec, like I mentioned before. We really like that variety. It's always given us good yields. But also the drip irrigation that we put in this year, that really helped, giving them even moisture throughout the season. So I think that made a big difference. You can see we ended up leaving this row of potatoes. We're just going to leave them till after frost, so there's a little bit more time for them to mature. But I just want to show you these 2 rows here. These ones are the ones that we grew from the seed that we kept last year. And then these 2 rows right here are the ones that we got from a feed store. We ordered in some Kennebec seed from a feed store. So I think we got a little bit more, maybe a better production from the seed from the feed store than we did saving our own. They were all beautiful, no rot, no holes, no rust or anything like that on them, but maybe a little bit more higher yield getting new seed each year. And I bought a 50-pound bag. I shared it with my brother, so we ended up planting, well, we separated 25 pounds, but some of them were actually rotten, so I would say we probably planted about 15 pounds, saved some from our own potatoes last year, and I think it cost us maybe 20 bucks for all of these potatoes. And last year our potatoes lasted us until June, so I think that's pretty good for 20 bucks. So you can see these 2 rows are the rows that we got from the feed store, from the seed we ordered, and then these ones are the ones that we saved. I mean, it's very, very comparable, but a little bit less lower yield over here, but the potatoes are massive. So I think overall we did quite well. The potatoes are just drying on top of the soil right now, and what we're going to do is we'll go along, and once they're all dry on the top, we'll flip them over so that they get dry on the bottom, because the soil will dry underneath them as well. And then tomorrow we will bring them in, we'll brush off most of the dirt, and we'll bring them down the basement and spread them out on these pallets that we've made, and we'll let them cure that way for a little bit. All right, we are back at the potato harvest. It is the next day. These potatoes have been sitting out overnight, and they have continued to dry this afternoon because it's been a beautiful day. So we're going to collect them all and then take them down the basement to finish their curing process. So we will bring you along and you can see what we do. You can see here that they've dried nicely, so we just have to brush off the soil as much as we can, and then we will take them up to the house in bushel baskets and bring them down the basement. I'm just going to show you where we have the potatoes curing. This is the root cellar here. The door's open, so it keeps it about, I'd say about 18 degrees Celsius in here. We also have a fan going. Not right now, I have it shut off for this, but we keep a fan going just for some air circulation down here. But we do have our potatoes, and what we've done is we've spread them out to cure. They need to go through a curing process because even though we had them outside overnight, when it was dry in the soil, we need to bring them in a cool, dark place and let the skins kind of cure over. It will make them, if there's any sort of a nick or anything like that at all on the skin, it'll kind of make it kind of scab over a bit, and it won't rot, or it shouldn't rot anyway. But the skins will toughen up during the curing process, and then we can put all the potatoes into these bins. We don't have to keep them spread out here. We also have some over there in that bin, and then right here these potatoes are spread out just on pallets and screens. And these ones here, I've separated those because the smaller ones, they don't store that well. They kind of get soft, so we'll eat those first. And then once they've been curing down here, they've been down here for about a week. We usually keep them for another about 10 days, about 15 days in total to cure before we can put all these potatoes into these two bins. And you can see that we have some squash and our pumpkins that were cured outside. They've gone through their curing process, so they're stacked in the bins. And we have the acorn squash. That doesn't usually store that well. But once these potatoes are done curing, we're going to remove the potatoes from that far bin, and we will store our carrots once they've been dug up out of the garden, and we store them in sand. And it lasts really, like a really long time. But once we close this door to the root cellar, it should be about, it varies between 8 and 10 degrees in the winter. And that's usually pretty good to keep everything, all of our root vegetables, good all winter long. So yeah, we got about over 300 pounds of potatoes from our garden. So that was a good haul. We have one more row that's not quite, the foliage hasn't died off on it. So yeah, we should have more of those potatoes. So we'll eat those first as well. So we should have lots of potatoes this year. This is what's left of the potatoes. They were just in the garden. We threw them in a pile. They're the ones that we speared or cut with the spade. So I'm just going to keep these up here in the kitchen and use those first. So out of 300 pounds, I think we only lost, I think we had to throw away about 7 potatoes that were green, that had come to the surface and got a little bit of sun damage. So that's pretty good. So 7 potatoes that we had to get rid of. And here are some of those blue fingerling potatoes that we grew in that one row. We haven't harvested those yet. I just felt around and grabbed a few of those. I've never grown these before, and I got the seed on sale at the TSC. Oh geez, I think it was very, very late. We planted them late, and I got them for about $2 for the potato seed. So I thought I'd give those a try. Thanks a lot for joining us today and yesterday on our potato harvest. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please consider subscribing, and also leave in the comments where you are messaging from. It's always interesting to read that. And yeah, so I'll see you again next video.